from a holistic perspective, what we're trying to do is we're trying to assist the body to rebalance. So if the body isn't recognizing certain frequencies, then those frequencies are out of balance.
This is episode number 117 of the Life, Strength, and Health podcast. I'm Kim, and I'm joined with Jamal.
Greetings, everyone.
And
peace and blessings.
Yes, and thank you for joining us this week. In this episode, we're going to be discussing allergies, but from a holistic perspective, and we have a guest that's joining us in this episode. But before we dive into that, the testimonial of this episode comes from Vincent. And Vincent wrote, "Love it. Service is excellent. Thank you, Vincent, for your kind words.
Yes.
And we wish you much health success." This episode's organic food for thought is on turkey tail mushroom. We are at the beginning of the cold and flu season, and it's a good time to start focusing on immune system foods to give you a boost and help to prevent getting sick. Medicinal mushrooms are the answer. They are becoming more popular and are slowly making their way into the mainstream culture.
Yes.
There are 100 different medicinal mushrooms. The mushrooms that we're talking about in this segment is called the turkey tail mushroom. The turkey tail mushroom gets its name because it looks like the plume of the feathers of turkeys, and that has been eaten for over 1,000 years. They grow abundantly on dead and fallen trees, branches, and stumps, and are the most abundant mushroom that you can find because they grow anywhere there are trees. Turkey tail mushroom is best known to stimulate immune function and reduce inflammation. The turkey tail mushroom has long been known to fight off many infections, including those associated with the common cold or flu. It helps your immune system become more resilient against ill-causing germs. This is the perfect time to add this powerful food into your diet. You can eat it whole, freshly harvested, but the best way to take advantage of the medicinal aspects is to use an extract, which can be purchased as a tincture or powder.
Yes, a lot of people ask us all the time, what can they do to boost their immune system? And the medicinal mushrooms are perfect for that.
Mm-hmm.
I love mushrooms. Like when we talk about food groups, a lot of times we talk about the plant and the animal kingdom as far as like food groups are concerned, but we don't talk about the fungal kingdom,
right?
Which is different, you know. And the 100 medicinal mushrooms that Kim is referring to, those are really just the 100 that have been studied so far to show medicinal benefits. So they're still studying them, and they're learning more all the time about the benefits of mushrooms. I know every morning this time of year we're taking our mushrooms. We make a mushroom tea, mm-hmm. and we use the powders. I tend to like the powders better actually, but we put the powders in our tea, and we make kind of like a mushroom matcha tea every morning, and I definitely feel a boost
right.
with the tea that we have in the morning. So you can definitely make a tea with your mushrooms. We're talking about turkey tail. So you just add a teaspoon of that, or you can get the tincture to give your immune system a nice boost. And you could take this throughout the winter, and this will definitely raise your defenses. And if you feel like you're fighting something, or if you're around people that are fighting something or full-blown sick, you can actually increase the amount of turkey tail that you're consuming.
So for all of our Health Warrior members of our private health community, we have added the turkey tail extract powder. I think those are the two forms we added, but we added those two to your member store. So just go to lifestrengthandhealth.com/membership, click the sign in button, and you will find that in your member store, and you can get your discounts depending on your member level. And if you're not a member of our private health community, we also wanted to make this product, easily accessible to you. So I just wanted to let you know about our online health dispensary. It's like an Amazon for high quality, professional grade products. and we have added the turkey tail in there, and you can sign up for an account for free. You get discounts in there as well. And to check that out, just go to lifestrengthandhealth.com/wellness. That's lifestrengthandhealth.com/wellness. And there you can see a host of other holistic health personal care products, supplements that we recommend, that we mostly carry and offer to our clients as well. So check that out if you are interested. So now let's segue into this week's episode. And in this episode, we're going to be discussing allergies, but from a holistic perspective. And we're going to be interviewing Dr. Deborah Tokarski, who is a holistic allergist. This interview was really, really interesting. A lot of powerful nuggets that was shared. And I think it's going to be really helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah, because a lot of times when people get allergies, they feel like that's it. You know, I was just talking to one of our clients just today, and she takes allergy medication indefinitely. She takes it all the time. Like that's just it for her, or at least she feels like it. And I think that this podcast brings hope to know that, you know, there is an answer to allergies and food sensitivities and other sensitivities that you have.
Right. And just speaking from personal experience, you know, there are other options.
Right.
I was certainly very sensitive to like gluten and certain other things. And I still have a sensitivity, but it's not as severe as in the past. So, you know, these are some of the things we're going to be diving into with our discussion with Deborah and so much more. Yeah,
I agree. I know that one of the things that I didn't share in the segment of the show was I used to deal with allergies. I had seasonal, I guess, pollen allergies that I used to get. I used to be allergic to certain foods, pineapples. Definitely I was allergic to, and those things are gone.
Are gone, right.
they're long gone
I
now.
couldn't imagine being allergic to mangoes.
Yeah.
So before we, dive into the interview, I just wanted to read a little bit about Deborah before we begin. Deborah is a board-certified naturopathic doctor with a natural health practice in Ridgewood, New Jersey. She is a wife of 41 years, a mother of 3, and the proud grandmother of 8 grandchildren. After raising her family, she started her career in July 2000 as a certified natural health practitioner and herbalist. She pursued her education in bioenergetics and nutrition and was certified as a nutritional consultant and a registered holistic allergist. She went to Trinity College of Natural Health, where she completed her studies as a naturopath. In 2010, Debbie focused her practice in the area of allergies and opened Allergy-Free and More Natural Health Center, where she currently practices utilizing 2 bioenergetic modalities. She helps her clients discover the imbalances their body has and assists their body in the process of restoring health. So without further ado, let's dive into the interview. Hi, Kim and Jamal here, and today we are joined with a special guest, Deborah Tokarski. Hi, Deborah. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, glad to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
And in this episode, we're going to discuss allergies, but from a holistic perspective. So I'm excited to share that with our community.
Yes.
So before we dive in, can you share briefly a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a naturopathic doctor. I have certifications in nutrition. I have certifications as a certified natural health professional. I've been working with allergies and people who have allergy challenges for 10 years now. And for 15 years before that, I was an herbalist and really just love helping people assist their body to heal themselves.
And what led you on the holistic health path and helping people?
Well, I think I always thought there had to be a better way than just drugs.
Yes.
I'm a spiritual person, a person of faith. And I thought if God made us, then he had to have made some things that were natural to help us, our bodies to work better. So when I first learned about herbs, I was very excited and started studying with a naturopath years ago, just because I wanted to learn. And shortly thereafter, my daughter developed earache challenges and lots of ear infections. And so I used the information that I learned from that other naturopath that was teaching us and saw great changes for my daughter. She didn't have to have medical procedures and infections stopped. So that really spurred me on from more than just curiosity to this works and this is what I want to do for me and my family.
Yes. We say it all the time. A lot of people in the field, they have these experiences where, they had to find help for family members or for themselves, and they end up helping themselves naturally. And these things kind of start their journey. So it aligns perfectly with everyone there. So can you explain to our listeners exactly what is a holistic allergist?
Well, a holistic allergist would be someone who is trying to assist their body to come to homeostasis and balance itself so that they are not harassed by the symptoms of allergies. Allergies are actually the body trying to protect itself. The body doesn't recognize something, and so it would call for an immune response. And that immune response, the symptom will cause an inflammation someplace, or the symptoms of that immune response are the things that people call allergies. So it's really the body just trying to help itself. But it's a case of mistaken identity because it's trying to, rebalance something. It's trying to fix something that it thinks it's a poison, for example, like a banana. They don't think if somebody's allergic to a banana, the body thinks the banana is a poison. Well, banana isn't a poison. So there's a mistaken identity there. So that's what I assist people in their body doing to help it to recognize the frequency of banana or whatever.
Yeah, this is a big topic because it seems like, especially these days, everyone has some type of sensitivity or some type of allergy in a sense. So this is something that is that a lot of people are dealing with. So especially a lot of our clients that come in. So we thought that this was an important topic to discuss.
Right. And when most people think of allergies, one, it's never a good thing to have them, but then they want to suppress them. But it's really your body trying to talk to you to say something is off.
And so would you say that there's any difference between a holistic perspective in allergies versus a medical perspective when it comes to allergies?
Well, yeah. So, well, first of all, I want to say that I am not a medical doctor.
Yes.
I'm a naturopath, so I don't have the ability to diagnose or prescribe, nor, is that anything that I'm interested in doing.
Right.
But so if you go to a regular allergist and they would test you, they would test your blood, they would do a scratch test, they would discover the things that you are allergic to. Unfortunately, those tests don't tell us the things that you're intolerant to. It'll only tell the things that you're allergic to. And then they have different ways of dealing with them. Sometimes they'll prescribe medications. Sometimes they'll give them shots to help their body to over a course of a period of time to get used to the substance so that they don't react. So those are the main ways that medical allergists, that my clients, come to me and tell me their medical allergists have treated them. From a holistic perspective, what we're trying to do is we're trying to assist the body to rebalance.
Yes.
So if the body isn't recognizing certain frequencies, then those frequencies are out of balance. So that's what I try to do. I try and help. I have energy technologies I use that use light, and we try and we pretty successfully help the body to recognize the frequencies that it used to recognize, then they develop allergy and it doesn't recognize. And if your body recognizes those substances, then it won't call for the immune response,
right?
And you won't have the issue. As we're working along those lines, while somebody has many allergies, and it's going to take some time to do those, there are some herbs that we would suggest that could be helpful. Things that will, support their lungs if it's a lung issue, or, things that help with the histamine reaction. So there are natural approaches that are kind of similar, but those are more secondary. What we're really trying to do is just to assist the body to heal itself. And there are different ways to do that.
Yes.
One of the most important things is building up somebody's immune system.
Yes.
Okay, because there are, a holistic allergist believes that there are 3 things that cause an allergy. We believe that allergies are caused by a weak immune system.
Mm-hmm.
We believe they're caused, you have to have 3 things: the weak immune system, you have to have a stressful environment,
mm-hmm. and
you have to be exposed to electromagnetic frequencies.
Mm.
So while we've thought in the past, we've understood that a weak immune system, stress and a weak immune system together, lets things inside the cell that we normally wouldn't want in there. For example, under a stressful environment, you mm-hmm. might all of a sudden have bacteria and viruses getting inside the cell, mm-hmm. especially if the immune system's weak. The thing we've never paid attention to is that the electromagnetic frequencies also at that point get inside, and they disrupt whatever energetically is going on inside the cell. Mm-hmm. And since the language of the body, the language cell to cell is frequency, you and I are speaking English right now, mm-hmm. but the language that our body speaks inside is frequency. Mm-hmm. So when a frequency has, a word, for example, a word, I said banana, but it could be pollen or ragweed, that word gets jumbled, and then the person doesn't recognize it. We need to put back the word ragweed or banana or whatever, mm-hmm. So that then the body can function properly.
Mm. So you said a couple of things when you were talking about the contrast between the two, like specific allergy, like that's tested medically through, blood scratch tests. But then you also mentioned intolerance, and then we know, which could be the same thing, sensitivity. What would you say is the difference between intolerances, which most likely are sensitivities, versus like in allergy itself?
To me, they're the same thing.
Gotcha.
The difference is one has been around longer and stronger, so it shows up in the blood.
Right. Gotcha.
By the time something energetically, you can see things in the body long before they show up in the blood.
Yeah.
By the time they show up in the blood, they're big bad monsters.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But before they show up in the blood, their intolerances, they cause all the same symptoms.
Yes.
So I'll have lots of people come to me and say, I've been tested and they tell me I'm not allergic to gluten or I'm not allergic to whatever, but whenever I eat it, this happens.
Right.
And when I test, I'm doing an energetic test. I do a couple of different tests. Mine are energetic. And if the body reacts energetically negatively to something, it will only do that if it's an allergy or an intolerance.
Correct. Yes.
I can't tell the difference except by their paperwork.
Right.
But it really doesn't matter to me. Some people bring paperwork, some people don't. Doesn't matter. When we test, both of them will come up, and then when we rebalance, they go away.
Right. So it's really just a matter of, in the beginning stages of it being an imbalance that we can, rebalance early and prevent it from showing up medically, as opposed to something that has progressed to get to that point.
Right. And both of those things will show up medically. So I encourage my clients to go back to their allergist and have things retested.
Yes.
Very often the client will not be reacting anymore. Mm-hmm. But it takes a while for that to show up in the blood. Mm-hmm. So, and one thing I do want to say right from the onset is that if someone is anaphylactic to anything, we never, ever, ever tell them that they can eat that.
Yes.
They need to go to their medical doctor and, have him test them. And then if it tests less, then they go for a food challenge with their medical doctor. That's not something that we ever, ever would do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you often see like a serious delayed reaction when it comes to people's blood work versus how they're feeling and how their bodies are responding?
There are many people who come in with blood work and tell me that they've had everything tested, and it may not be allergies, it might be other things.
Mm-hmm.
They don't feel well. They have a host of symptoms, and yet all of their tests come out as normal. So we do have lots of people like that.
Yes.
Looking for answers for why they don't feel well, yet can't seem to find a diagnosis.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I do have a question for you in regards to a person's frequency identification being off. And you were using the example of a banana and the body not necessarily recognizing that as nutrition. What would be something that would throw that frequency off in a person?
Well, it would be the electromagnetic frequency, the stress, and a weak immune system. The example I like to give people is they're sitting in their backyard. The guy next door just mowed his lawn. They're having a snack. We'll call it an apple this time. And they get a call on their cell phone, which is the same frequency as their DNA, just FYI. They get the call on the cell phone and their boss is calling them, telling them they just lost their job. And I like to say that this is like a nice, tight, healthy cell wall because of the stress of that. And maybe their immune system was already weak, becomes vulnerable, and things get inside the cell wall. But in this case, the cell phone, and it doesn't have to be the cell phone.
Right.
We are bathed in EMFs.
Right.
The frequencies now get inside the cell phone. And what's going on inside their cell at the moment? They're smelling fresh cut grass and they're digesting an apple. So the frequencies for fresh cut grass and apple get somehow distorted. And the next time the guy next door mows his lawn, their body says, I don't recognize this because their frequency for fresh cut grass has been changed. It's altered somehow. Their frequency for apple has been changed. That's the problem. So the more and more we are bathed in EMFs. I mean, we all walk around with our own personal cell towers now, right? Our little cell phones have Wi-Fi and they have it all. And 5G is coming out. It's not going to be getting better.
Yes.
Right.
So those, years ago when I was growing up, there was, I didn't know what the word allergy was till I was 14. I'd never heard of it. There's not a 6-year-old today that doesn't know what an allergy is. If they don't have one, somebody in their class has one.
Right.
Yeah.
But what happened when I was growing up, the only EMFs around were maybe, TV waves, radio waves, some generators on telephone poles, the houses were electrically wired. I didn't grow up with computers. I didn't, so we have added them slowly and now it's an explosion.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's happened in many ways to our health in some areas, allergies being one of them.
Yeah, I think that what you're saying is really important, and it's really important for our listeners to understand just the differences, because what we're seeing is that these effects are starting to happen more and more. So we have a lot of people that are kind of shrinking in their way of life. So, one moment they they are sensitive to bananas, so they stop bananas. Then it's cherries. Then it's next thing you know, they can't have fruit. Then it's the grains. And then the next thing you know, they have a very limited diet that they have to stay away from. And it seems like the conventional approach is avoid all of the things that don't work for you and medicate. Let's quiet the symptoms when you do, take eat or introduce specific things into your internal environment.
And that's all you can do.
Right. And people think that that's the only thing that they can do. But what you're saying is that, if you look at the body as from a frequency perspective, and you can change your frequency so that your body can identify it again, that it is possible to reverse and rebalance the body of all of these challenges that you were having before. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. And years ago, people would grow out of allergies.
Mm-hmm.
That was common.
Yes.
Right.
That's not so common anymore. And I think it's just because of all the EMFs. So the idea of telling somebody to stop eating certain things is not a bad idea. It was going to take eons of time for that to happen because they're constantly exposed, right? So,
right.
But if you're not eating it, then that does allow the body, more time to eventually rebalance it. The problem is, I encourage people to, do things to lessen their exposure to EMF so their body can, because our body naturally, before we had these technology, our body used to rebalance.
Yes.
Right? People would grow out of allergies. So that part of it, I understand that does work, but you get to the place where you're eating next to nothing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's a problem. So definitely it's much better to be able to rebalance them and be able to eat a variety of a diet. The other thing is some of the foods that they're being encouraged not to eat are actually poisonous.
Mm-hmm.
That's not, gluten, while the wheat in our country has really been altered to a place where our wheat has so much more gluten in it than wheat, say, for example, in Europe.
Yes.
But I've been told it's 50 times more. I do have clients who can't eat gluten here, but can go to Europe and eat bread there fine.
Yeah, we hear that all the time.
And a lot of our foods are processed. So, limiting those things are actually, the bad things in our food are genetically modified things are weakening our immune system.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So there is a place for, changing up the diet.
Yes.
I don't want to just rebalance things so people can go back to eating bad foods.
Right. Yes.
We want to educate people to, okay, so let's fix this, but, let's come alongside and assist your body because we don't heal anything.
Yes.
But the body does heal itself. So let's come alongside your body and help it to heal itself. And then let's do things so that we don't find ourselves back in that situation again.
Right.
Yeah, I think everything that you're saying is so important and powerful. What has been your experience in regards to what you have seen in regards to the body healing itself and rebalancing itself from, major sensitivities or allergies that it may have had?
I've seen, tremendous results.
Mm-hmm.
When you assist the body and you rebalance it and you help the body correct from all the over EMF exposure, which is what what our technologies do, the body fixes itself. We've been in business for 10 years and we have a waiting list of people coming to see us. So we're doing something right. We don't advertise. This is only the second time I've been interviewed. So it's really just been word of mouth, people getting better and telling their friends, hey, there are natural ways out of this. So we've just found it to be extremely successful.
Yeah, that's great. And last question, it's in regards to celiac. Is that different? Is celiac different, or is that a very, very progressed sensitivity? Okay,
so celiac is a medically diagnosed disease.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I deal in terms. So if somebody comes to me and they have diabetes, that's been diagnosed as a disease by their doctor.
Yes,
I'm going to help them with their pancreas.
Right.
Okay, because to me, they know they have a disease, but I'm like, okay, there's indications here that they have an imbalance in their pancreas. Let's strengthen. We fix, those kinds of things. With celiac, the villi are, things that are in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen clients. With celiac have their digestive issues go away when wheat and gluten and those things are rebalanced, because I encourage them not to eat it. But unfortunately, most clients would be someplace and have an accidental exposure. And then when they have the accidental exposure, they end up with all of the awful symptoms that go with that.
Mm-hmm.
So when we rebalance the wheat and the gluten, and they have an accidental exposure, they're not going to have those symptoms.
Gotcha. That is exactly what I've experienced as well, and so it's good to see that others have kind of seen that also.
Yeah, but they're also will still test in their blood work as having that.
Right.
But their villi will get healthy again, which they'll get healthy if they stop eating the gluten. The problem is they keep getting accidentally exposed to gluten, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're not unable to do that. So if the body's recognizing it, not calling for the immune response, not creating the inflammation, the villi have the opportunity to heal.
Right.
Right. So, right.
Well, this has been great. Like, we really appreciate you sharing this information. I'm sure this is new for a lot of our listeners, and a really good experience for them. One question that we always ask our guests is, if there was only one thing that a person can do to have the biggest impact on their health, what would you recommend for them?
Well, the one thing that I find in our practice that makes the biggest difference for people is by rebalancing Candida. So Candida, in case all of your listeners are not aware of it, it's an overgrowth of Candida. So Candida overgrowth is really what I'm talking about. Candida is a fungus we're born with. It's in our intestines. We're born with it because its purpose is so when we die, that's what will digest us. So I explain to my clients, we don't want to be pre-digested.
Mm-hmm.
We only want the Candida to stay in the intestines, the cells where it recognizes it. But if you have Candida overgrowth, then that means that you have Candida throughout your whole body, and cells where it's not supposed to be have allowed it to be. And there you'll have a host of symptoms that are miserable. A lot of them resemble the allergy symptoms. And I do a rebalancing with that. Normally it takes months of dieting and hundreds of dollars worth of supplements. But we find if we use the frequency of Candida and help their cells to recognize it, then in 15 days of dieting and using some supplements, their cells cooperate, and all the cells that are now recognizing the frequency of Candida will start to kick it out of the cell. So the body works with you, and we see huge changes in people's health once they do that. And they may go kicking and screaming into the diet, but after 2 weeks, when they feel so much better and they realize this was not that big, it was a change, but I feel really great. It wasn't that hard to do. So many people stay on a modified version from that point on, just because they're like, I feel so great. I'm going to add back in this or that, but it makes a huge difference. And I encourage them, when they leave me for the rest of their life, keep their Candida, in check. Make sure it doesn't get to an overgrowth state. If it does, do what you need to do to rebalance it, because it creates an acidic environment in the body, and it makes your body a good host home for disease.
Yes.
Right. All the big bad diseases that none of us want to get, all of those people are loaded with Candida. So if you can make your body a place that's not, a welcoming place for disease, that's just good for you.
Right.
So that is so while there are many things, I'm sure when you can only think of one thing,
yes,
keeping that Candida, from an overgrowth state really will do lots of things for people. So
thank you for that.
Thank you.
Powerful answer. So, again, we really appreciate having you on.
Yes.
And for our listeners that would like to follow you, would like to schedule an appointment with you, can you provide us with the info?
Oh, I'd be happy to do that. Our website is allergyfreeandmore.com. Our phone number is 201-857-4401. And we'd love to work with any of them.
Thank you. And are you on social media, Instagram, Facebook?
We have a Facebook page. We have reviews actually on Facebook. We have reviews on Google, and we have reviews on Yelp. So our clients have been gracious enough, some of them to leave their story. So they can definitely look us up in those places. We have an office in Ridgewood, New Jersey on Goffle Road. So we're easy to find.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. We really appreciate having you on. And
thanks.
Yeah, just in talking to you, especially in the area of the EMFs, just got me thinking about other conversations that maybe we can have in the near future.
If I could leave one quick suggestion to your audience.
Yes.
I encourage my clients to put their Wi-Fi on a timer. There's not a reason at night when you're sleeping to have to expose your body to that. When your body's supposed to be healing and rebalancing, give it a break. Put it on, a timer that you buy for lights. Turn it off at midnight and turn it on at 6 a.m. And, at least it'll give your body, the rest that it needs. I've seen great changes from just people being able to sleep better, all kinds of things, just from that one little suggestion. It's little, but it's huge.
Yeah, that's an incredible idea. We one of the things that we will tell people at night is to put their phones in airplane mode for that same reason. So adding that into the equation,
that's the whole home.
Adding that to the equation of the Wi-Fi timer. That's huge. Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, doing both of those things at the same time. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
you're welcome. Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed our conversation.
Yes.
Right. And I'll list all of your contact information in our show notes pages. So if anyone's interested, it'll be easier to find you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
You too. Bye now.
Bye-bye. So that is the conclusion of our interview with Deborah Tokarski, where we discussed allergies from a holistic perspective. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, but most importantly, you received value from it. And for access to the show notes pages, where we'll list Deborah's contact information about the work that she's doing, her business, phone number, contact information. We will also list the information for our online health dispensary and so much more. Just visit the show notes page at lifestrengthandhealth.com/117. That's lifestrengthandhealth.com/117. And you can also learn more about our wellness center, Life Strength and Health, where we use a holistic perspective to help people to rebalance their body and to feel and look their best naturally. Okay. Yes. So thank you again for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. And until next time, live healthier.
Stay healthy, everyone. Peace and blessings.